Hey, this is Pastor Craig. I want to welcome you to Ask Pastor Craig. Thanks for joining me this evening. My question this evening is this. I don't really feel like I have any gifts or talents or abilities whatsoever. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and sometimes I feel like I'm absolutely no use at all. Does God really create each one of us with gifts and talents and abilities? Thanks for your question, man. I appreciate it. Absolutely, God creates every single one of us with gifts, talents, and abilities. And, I think every one of us feels at times like, different times like maybe we don't have any use or we don't have any abilities, or we tend to focus on the areas where we lack, and each one of us have faults. But the reality is, yes, God creates each one of us with gifts, talents, and abilities, and each one of us is of intense and incredible value. Psalms 139, the psalmist says this, "You created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb, and I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and all your works are wonderful, and I know that full well." You see what the psalmist is saying? He's saying, God, everything you create is awesome. Everything you create is wonderful, and I know that. And I am one of those wonderful creations. It takes a lot of audacity to say that. It takes a lot of audacity to compare us with God's creation, like mountains or the ocean, the seas, the moon, the stars, all those incredible great creations of God. We're numbered among those as one of the most, incredible and wonderful parts of God's creation. And that's exactly what you are. You're a part of God's wonderful creation, and you are made wonderfully, and you are made fearfully, and all of God's works are wonderful, and that includes you and I. I think at times it's hard to see us, or it's hard to see ourselves as wonderful. We have a tendency to focus on the lack that is us, and every single human being alive, no matter how together they seem to be, or how wonderful or beautiful or talented, whatever the case may be, every one of us has faults, and a lot of times we focus on those faults. And it's not that we shouldn't try to achieve better things or grow better and get rid of some of those faults. We should. But there's also time that we should really celebrate the creation that is simply you and I. That we should focus on this wonderful creation that God made, that is me and that is you. And I really want to encourage you to do that. In regards to your question, does God give us gifts and talents and abilities? Absolutely. God spoke something really powerful to Jeremiah. And this is what he said to him. This is Jeremiah chapter 1. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." So God tells Jeremiah, before you were even born, I gave you gifts and talents and abilities, and I called you even before you were conceived in your mother's womb. God says that to Jeremiah. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 talks about this as well. It says, "Now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every single person for the common good. To one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom, to another a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by that one Spirit, to another miraculous powers, to another prophecy, to another distinguishing between spirits, to another speaking in different kinds of tongues, and still to another the interpretation of tongues. And all of these works are of one and the same Spirit, and He distributes them to each one, to each individual person, just as He determines." So God gives every one of us gifts and talents and abilities by His determination. No one is left out. Not you, not me, nobody. We all have incredible gifts and talents. It may take a little time to discover what those are. But if you're a Bible-believing Christian, and I think that you are, or you wouldn't have contacted me, you have to believe, you are forced to believe that God has given you some incredible talents, some incredible gifts, some incredible abilities. And it's really your job to celebrate this life that is you, to celebrate this existence that is you, because God created you. You're the creation of God, and no more than you would despise the mountains or the moon or the sun or the stars, no more than you would despise the crashing of the ocean on the shores of some beautiful paradise, would you have the audacity to despise yourself? So I want to encourage you to celebrate who you are. I want to encourage you to celebrate the creation that is you, because you are God-formed, God-ordained, God-created. God chose to create you. That's what you are, the creation of God. It may take a little time to find out exactly where you fit in God's plan, but if you'll surrender your heart to the Lord, surrender yourself to God's work, He'll show you where you need to be. It's not always easy to do, but He'll lead you and He'll guide you. God bless you. If you have different questions about this, we'd really love to hear from you. We'd like to hear your response on this question as well. I'm going to post this in two places, on Facebook.com/ROR Ministries, and on my Facebook page, Facebook.com/Pastor Craig Online. God bless you for listening this evening. Amen.